The longer we code and write programs, the more we get closer to our tooling and anything that can boost our productivity and improve our development workflow. Well, AI is here, and yes, it is here to stay. But it's not something to fear. It's actually amazing, fun, and be warned, it is somewhat addictive. There are many options that are based off OpenAI Codex, but today we are going to focus on Tab 9. Tab 9 made the bet on developer experience by lowering the barrier of access to a simple extension. That's all you need in any of our favorite IDEs. Feel free to check on the docs, licensing, example, and whatnot, but I'm just going to dive right in and show you how I've been enjoying this after just 1 day of use. And by the way, do not forget to subscribe to support more content like this and turn on your notification. Okay, let's dive right in. So here we go. We are in VS Code and I have the Tab 9 extension installed. And of course, you can go through some of the things that it can do. You can see here. And it might look like just simple code completion. And some people even say that it looks like IntelliSense at first, but I can assure you it's beyond that. So install it. Check out the licenses first, and then here it tells you like all the languages that it includes: Python, JavaScript, Java, React. All these things are like included. And the cool thing about this, what I found out is it adapts to your style of coding and to your style that your team has. So I have 3, use case or example that I'm going to share with you. Install it, and I think the completion will happen in the cloud if you don't have the pro version, the paid version. And if you have the paid version, I think like all the completion and stuff is going to happen locally. But just check into the details. They have plenty of documentation on their webpage. So let's close this. And what I'm going to do, the very first use case, I'm going to take an existing, let's say I'm going to just refactor this to a class. It works pretty well, but we're going now to a class-based, let's say, syntax, even though everybody knows it's just sugar in JavaScript. Like, so let me just put it to the right here. And I have this file bst-ai.js that is going to be the Tab 9 helped version. So if we can put it that way. So let's just start right here, a blank file, and I just want to start like typing in, and see what this Tab 9 or see this OpenAI stuff is all about. So since I have a class here, I need to see my keyboard, buddy. So I'm going to go class. Okay, so anytime that you have this completion and you click a tab, you have like realize your first tab. So basically, the AI is going to help you by suggesting like code completion. And then when you tab, you have accepted basically the suggestion. So the class, I'm going to call it binary. So right now it's trying to make it BST. You see that how it's making already the link with the name of the file, but I'm going to call it something a little more explicit here, binary search tree. Okay. So binary search tree is going to have, if I look on the right, it's going to have a constructor, and that constructor is going to take a value. Okay. Value. All right. This is going to be fun. It's going to take a value, just a value. Okay, and I'm going to give it some properties. So this that value is going to be equal to value. Okay, and for a binary search tree, we're probably going to have a left. So right now it's just trying to guess in the, I have no reference to anything. It's just trying to guess. And by the way, They said that their model is based on about 2 million pages on GitHub that they have trained against their model, so for their machine learning or whatever voodoo that thing is called. Okay, so this that left, we're going to put it to null. Okay. And this that right. Okay, I put this that left, so probably I mean to do this that right for the next one. Okay, now let's do our first method here, which is going to be our insert. And insert is going to take a value. Okay. And let's just do some conditional if, and let's go if this that value. I'm just converting what is on my left right there. Now, when it's suggesting something to you and you are not satisfied with that suggestion, I think on the Mac you can do option and bracket to see if there's another suggestion. If there's another one, it will show you. If not, you can just dismiss it and say, okay, I'm going to go with value and I'm going to go less than equal to value. Okay. And actually, this is what we want just to make sure that our function is okay. And we're just going to transform this one. And I'm going to show you a faster way of doing it with still the help of like the AI. So if value is less than equal than value, okay. And here we're going to do if this that left. So it's getting better at knowing like what I'm trying to do. This that left is going to be a new. Okay, let's give us some space. New binary search, that's going to be that value. So we're doing a little recursion here, basically to insert this item at the right spot, you know, in the binary search, in the binary tree. Okay, let's go to the next. What does it do on the next line? So it gives us an else statement. And here, let's just make sure that I have this. Okay. Okay. Let's finish the first one. And we're going to do else. This, that left. Okay. Insert value. You see like the completion is happening here. Now, at the end of this, we're going for an else if here. And it almost got it right. I just need to be like value is greater than this value. And here, we're going to go for the right side. If, okay, false, this, that, right. You see, it almost got the whole thing correct. Of course, we're going to have to put the binary search like, you know, value at the end here. But just by starting typing and seeing like getting the reference of like what we are typing, what is the vocabulary we're using, you know. And I think that's where a lot of people are going to see that it's not really completing the logic. It's just completing like the syntax and the vocabulary that we're using. So I feel very secure about my job, at least like in this version of AI. It's doing the best guess possible, you know, but you still have to be like in the driver's seat here and say, okay, I'm tabbing this and I'm going to just do, it's going to be value. Okay. All right. So I just need to get better at that part. Okay. It's going to be value. And then, so that's the if for the right one, if we have it. And then there's an else here. And in the else, this right insert value. You see that it already gets the right completion here. All I have to do is tab. That is like awesome, you know. So me and my diminished like typing skills, if I was to, let's not just say even refactor, but if I was to start something from scratch, it can already start like, you know, it doesn't have any reference of how I code yet. This file is not giving it any help yet, but still, after maybe like a few keystrokes, it was able to just find out, the right completion. This is already amazing. Now, let's keep it at that for this first part of the example. I don't want to even say exercise, but just for the first part of the example. And the second use case I want you to look at is, now we did not have any definitions here. So let's say we want it to be maybe a little smarter. This is the smarter part. And then we can document, our next step, what we're going to do. So usually we will do to-dos or like, comment blocks. So let me take all of this out. All right. And I'm going to start this time a comment block. Okay. And in that comment block, I'm going to say, okay, this is going to be the binary search tree class. Okay. Well, it says implementation. Okay, why not? And then here, I'm going to do an add constructor, just like you would do on your JS doc file or something like that. And then it's going to be constructor, and it's going to have a parameter of value. Okay. And let's say we param value, and let's say n has, and the cool thing, n has default properties. I'm going right now in plain, I'm going with just English language right now, and has default properties, okay, of left and right. It's completing it there. That default to null. Okay. Let's say that's what I have. And then I want to put maybe something for a method. And then for the method here, I'm going to have an insert method. Okay. And it has a param of value. So I'm just documenting what I'm going to do next. And I have maybe another method. I don't know. I think the other one was contains, to see if the binary tree contains an element or a value. So the method is going to be not contains, but contains. Okay. So another method that contains, and then it will take a param, let's say, of value too. Okay. Now let's say this is kind of like my little doc that I created, and as a to-do to come and create it, or I can assign it even to another developer and say, hey, this is the class implementation that I would want to see. Can you take care of it? Or like, just have fun with it. So let's just save this. And now, based on like this block comment that I have, as I'm typing, you see it says binary search tree. And then it says extend. I really don't need the extend, so I'm doing the option is trying to extend tree. I don't have a tree class. I'm still going to take the tab, and I'm just going to go with class binary search tree. Okay. Now I go with my constructor, and then the constructor is going to take value. Okay. And where it's going to be interesting here now for the properties, this value is value, but this that left is going to be null, and this that right is going to be null. Okay, so it's already taking into account our block comment and then doing some nice AI stuff for us right there. Now the next line, I'm going to put my my method here, insert value, and we already did the implementation or like the conversion. And then here I'm going to put my contains, and it's a method. And then here it says return this. I don't need to return this. I'm just going to do okay. I'm just going to have it like this. So you see that just without much reference, without, I have started using this extension since yesterday. So it's still getting used to my coding style. When it's not correcting my coding style, it's doing suggestions. I have the power to overwrite if I need to. And, you know, I can turn this thing into snippets if I do it frequently enough. So that's just one use case, okay? The other one that really got me finally, hooked in this is anytime I start like maybe an Angular project and I have to maybe write, I don't know, let's say some kind of default data for one of like the component, it can be React or something. I can come in here and say, I want like some kind of data, and the data is going to have, you know, this type of model. Let's just even say that I don't even have an interface yet. And I'm just going to come in and say, I want a products array. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do it via a block comment real quick. Okay. And via the block comment, I'm going to say, I'm going to have a products, which is going to be an array of products. Okay. And here, I'm going to go plain English. I'm going to say each product, you see, it's already starting to complete, even in plain English, is it's suggesting an array, but I'm going to say is an object, okay, with properties. And then you see properties, it does already put the column for me in there. This is amazing, man. I mean, I'm just having fun. And it's suggesting what properties should be in that object. Are you kidding me? So let's just say that I like to see my properties in the order. I'm going to disregard this and I'm going to do ID. Okay. Then it comes back with name and price. Okay. And then what else can we give it? The title. Okay. We give it a title. And let's give it a title. Let's give it a description. Oh, yeah, why not? Let's give it a description and even an image. Okay, I'll take it. All right, so each product is an object with properties, ID, name, price, description, and image. Okay, let's say I want to be a little descriptive about the image. And I will say the image key. And you see, I can even have it optional. The image key is an object with properties again. And here I'm going to have, let's say I'm going to give it a title. Okay. For image, I'm going to do caption. You see, it's completing it to caption. And I'm going to have a base URL. Okay. And well, it's suggesting width and height because it's saying images. Okay, width and height. But I will just do like a URL for the medium size, the small size, and the large size. So we have the base URL, which will be the default. But then we can just do something like small. I'll just do small, medium, and large. There you go. So let's say I have defined like my object in plain English. Now, let's go ahead and create our array. So products. Okay. And it's going to be an object. And I go with ID. And it does ID 1 already. Okay. Well, I don't know why it's not going to the next line. Let's do ID 1. Name. Let's call it like Nike Air Max. Let's just say that I'm putting something together for a shoe store. So that's the name, ID name. What was the next property? The price. Okay. It's 125. They're not cheap. And we have the price. We have the title. Do we need a title even for like after we have the name here? So I'm going to take title away because I don't need it. After the price, okay. What I'm going to need is probably a description. And then the description, let's say I want it to be some kind of lorem text. So lorem ipsum dollar. There you go. It's already. And if I keep going, you see, that is so cool. I mean, that thing made me flip, man. This is amazing. Okay, let's just say that, you know, the Latin gods are not like displeased with me. Okay, let me get my Nike Air Max. So I have that, and I have all the way up to my description. And then here in the image, I'm gonna do image. And the HTTP is not what I need right now. I need the object. And for the base URL, now it's giving me HTTP, and that makes sense to me. And now I'm going to just do something like domain.com. It's doing images, and I'm going to do base. Okay. And let's say the one thing here, I would like to have a slug. For every single like image that I have, I can have a slug. So let me add for the actual name of the product. Let's add after description. Where would I put it? I would probably put it right after name. And I'm going to do slug. Okay. And there you go. Now here, let me add the slug. And what do I want the slug to be? I want the slug to be, you know, you can do dashes, you can do underscores. It's already doing Nike Air, but look, it's going to learn this behavior. So it's going to be Nike Air Max. And then here now, I'm going to use the slug as my value. And it already gives me a JPEG. But let's say that I have some transparent PNG files, okay? So that's my base URL, okay? And you see this format, HTTP, let's just make sure Google is happy, HTTPS, domain.com image, base Nike Air Max. That is one format that I just created, like basically like off the top of my head. Now let me see for the rest. So I'm going to give it a title, because I had it here saying that it's going to take title. So Nike, and I'm just going to repeat the same name. And after that, I go to, what are the other things? So we have caption. So caption is already telling me it's going to be probably lorem ipsum, dollar sit amet, and then whatever. Okay. So we have our caption text. And after that, my base URL, my medium URL. So let's go with small. So small is not giving me anything. It's not helping me. It does small what? So let's change like small, because it's an image. I'm going to change this to small URL, medium URL. And it's even giving me an option of large URL. But since I already have it here, I'm going to do large URL. Okay, and now let me come back here. And after that, when I do small, you see now it's doing small URL, and it's suggesting already like a pass. And then I'm going to start, okay, domain.com, and it's going to be images. But look, it put images small, not images base or anything like that. It's like, oh, okay, he's repeating the same thing. So now image is small. And then what is he going to put there? Nike Air. And when I put a dot, PNG. I mean, I don't know, man. Now let's go for like, you know, the medium URL, and we'll see if it's going to even pick it up faster. Okay. So it's go with HTTPS. Well, I don't know if why it started there this time. And we're going to go, it goes domain images. Okay. And of course I want to go to medium. And you see medium Nike error.png. I mean, come on, man. I mean, take my money. I swear to God, just take it right now. So large is going to be domain, medium. It is so much fun to just like Nike Air PNG. All right. So now I took the time to show you this step by step and showing you that from the language, from the English language that you are writing to describe code something, it is already like putting some intelligence into recognizing and seeing, okay, this is what they mean by what they're doing. And as we are typing and the way that we are formatting, like, our values is picking up on that and giving us better and better, like, completion. Now, one last thing for this particular example, let's create a second product. Okay. And here I'm going to go with ID, but look, it's ID 2 already. It knows that it has an ID of 1. It already knows that it has an ID of 1. And now it's already giving me ID 2. Come on, man. I mean, this is something else. Okay, so it's telling me, okay, I forgot to close. What am I doing? This is not, I forgot to close my curly brace here. Okay, and then a comma here. And now it is correct. Okay. No. What am I doing? So this is the first one. And yes, so this would be the second one. And let's get rid of this one. And if I just save it, it's going to format it. We good. Okay. The JavaScript JSON gods are going to be happy with us today. So we have an ID, and then you see we're going to go faster for the second part. The name this time, we're going to give it Reebok Classic. Okay. And I don't want Reebok Classical or Reebok Classic. And let's go with the slug. The slug should be a little smarter. It just went and got the right format. So Reebok Classic. I didn't have to do anything else. And let's say I want to go with the price. And then let's say these are pricey ones because they are a little more limited than the other ones. So price, and then the description, lorem ipsum, dollar, sit, Ahmed Khan, something else, seek, classic, sequel, whatever, separator, something like that. It's special. Okay. And now let's go to the image and see if the image is going to go faster. So first, when we did it, the image here did not respond as an object, but now it knows right away we're going to deal with an object. And I'm going to go with the base URL, and you see it already completed all the way up to base. And here I'm just going to go with Reebok Classic PNG. Nice. Now I'm going to go with the title. I'm kind of just repeating the same title. Is it going to pick that up? Not quite yet, but yeah, right there, classic. And caption, lorem ipsum. This is fine. Let's save some time here. And finally, let's do the small URL. It's going to be domain.com. And then it's going to be images small. And then Reebok classic.png. There you go. And let's do the same for my medium. Okay. And that's going to be images, Reebok classic.png. And finally, the large. All right. And this time it's going to be large Reebok classic.png. Okay. All right, so we have our two, and of course you can repeat this process or make it even a little more automated, but I just wanted to show you some of the capabilities that this extension has, and it's already recognizing how we write code, what are some of the patterns that it can like learn from, how it can, because the only thing that it does it's getting better at completing, so you can just like complete your task faster, less keystroke, less prone to error. So to me, that alone is worth every penny, and they're giving it to you for free, when you get started anyways. So let me save this, and I'm gonna try to recreate one of the examples that I saw, which just blew my mind too, basically. So what we're gonna do, let's say out of the product here, we wanna, before I do that, let me add one more record. Let me just copy this whole thing here, and let's create a new entry. And this time we're gonna call it like Puma Rider Cup. Okay, so that's gonna be some fancy Pumas right there. Come on, Rider Cup. Okay, so that's the Rider Cup limited edition, LTD. Okay, so Puma Rider Club Limited, and then here for everything that have Reebok Classic, let's just do the multi-cursor, and let's just do Puma Rider Cup LTD. Okay, and I think that's good. For the rest, we still have like the proper formatting, and then the ID here this time is 3. Okay, just because we copied and pasted over. All right, let's do that, and let's now say that we want to select only the shoes that have like classic, and then here let's say this is a very pair of expensive sneakers. Maybe some of the golfers like signed on it, and this is a $500 shoe. Okay, so let's say we want to extract only the ones that have maybe limited or classic in the name. Okay, so let's go ahead here and create a constant that we're gonna call limited series. All right, and then that constant, let's say we're just gonna do products, and we want to filter it. Okay, so we want to filter it product. It's already doing the auto completion for me, going from the plural to the singular here. And if that was not enough, it's gonna do like the product that. Okay, so let's do product that name, and I'm gonna do a little regular expression here. Let's say that it matches, and it matches what? Okay, so it matches, let's say anything. I'm gonna put it in a series here. Okay, and I'm gonna say that has either classic, okay, or it's even like suggesting to me Puma. Let's say I'm gonna do let's go with LTD for limited. That has classic or limited, and at the end here, let's just make sure that it doesn't matter, like the casing doesn't matter. So let's just do GI. Okay, and you see, so now while I was typing, it was looking into the different product names that are like associated, and starting like giving me like the auto completion that I needed. So if you were to run this in the browser, let's just let me just save this first, and let me just copy the whole thing, Command copy, and let's just go in the browser, and let me do an about blank here. And here, let's just open up a console. Okay, so in the console here, I'm gonna paste my code, All right. So I have the products and I have this limited series. And technically, I should be able to see the limited series. And you see it gives me an array of 2 objects with the Reebok Classic and the Puma Rider Club Ltd in there. So pretty quickly, I got to like define a model, be able to format it like to what I want it to be, and that made sense to me and to my organization pretty quickly. Test it real quick in the browser, and I'm like, okay, this is a very good draft for me to start. I can build on this. All right. So this is great, but some of you would be like, hey, why did you take that whole pain of like doing this with plain vanilla JS where you could use some TypeScript instead? Okay, so why don't we use some TypeScript instead and just do maybe the same thing here? So I have that ready for you. And this is like the product TS. All right, so this session is taking a little bit longer than I expected, but I'm just having a lot of fun. So I hope you stick around. I'm going to give you a last use case where we're going to use maybe a TypeScript example. So I have a products TS. Let's rename it to, I don't know. Let's just say it's going to be like a product service. Okay, so let's just call it product service. Product service. Okay, so what we're gonna do here, let's say first we're gonna create an interface and it's gonna be product. So it's already doing that for me, and it's gonna have an ID. The ID is gonna be of type number. It's gonna have, of course, a name. It's gonna be a type string. And let's say we're gonna have price. Price is gonna be of type number. And what else do we need? It probably gonna have a description that is gonna be a string. And quantity. Let's say that's a number. And finally, let's say we're going to give it image. Okay, we're going to give the product an image. But let's say like we did in our previous example, we wanted the image to have more stuff. So let me create a second interface here, and I'm going to call it interface image, and that's going to be image meta. And the image, like we did earlier, we're going to give it a base URL. That's going to be a string. It's going to have a title. That is going to be a string as well. It's going to have a caption. Well, in this case, caption and title are almost the same. So I'm just going to do caption. That's going to be a string. It's going to have like our small URL string, medium URL string, and then our large URL that is going to be a string. And let's see, we wanted to add maybe an ID to that image as well. Okay, not an import statement, just let's say an ID. Okay. And then if you wanted to see options, like I said, you can just click on option bracket, and then you see it's telling me, do you want it to be an ID or a number? So a number or string. So I want it to be a number. Okay. And let's say now I can take this interface and use it in here for my product. It's going to take an image meta. Okay. Now, the product, we're going to create a generic let's say it could have been imported from somewhere else, but we're going to create an async function, export an async function here, and that's going to just be a get data. So what the get data is going to do is going to take a request, and then it's going to take a request info, I believe is the right. It's going to get a request info. Okay. So get data gets the request info, and what else can we add there? Then you see it has the column in there. It's going to be a promise, and that promise though, can it know that it's going to be? No, I think it has to be generic here. So let's just do product, and that's going to be T for generic. We don't need that. Okay, ESC, or just an any here. Okay, so this is going to be the function that we're going to use to go get basically our to go and fetch our data. So promise any, and then let's say we're gonna have a constant here that's gonna be a response. It's already completing. It's gonna I have an async function. It's giving me an await, and we're gonna fetch the request. Okay. And we're gonna give back the result. And you see, I like to put data usually as the result, and it's already doing the autocomplete for me. Data await response.json. And let's say we just return the data. Okay. So when we have this, and you saw how like Tab9 has been helping me the whole time. Now, if I want to get products, so let's say this time I'm going to call products, and you see it's already doing like the right type here. Products is going to be an array of product, and it's just going to be a weight of get data. And let me give it an HTTPS, and that's going to be API dot, let's say commerce .com, and it does already like the suggest me the v1, the versioning product. Okay, so we can do that. And if you have this, if this bugs you, basically, I know that in the new versions of Node or something like that, you can call await outside of like a function block. If this for some reason like just pisses you off, or like you don't want to deal with it, just put everything in an ify. You can do it that way. So put that in an ify. Let's copy it over, Command X. Let's put it in here. It's still gonna complain because await should be inside of async. So let's just make this an async call. And voila. So we don't have any more syntax issue. But you saw the main like goal here was just to show you almost the same example here that we had, and like using maybe faking, like if we were to use an API and having like to write like this part from scratch, and how Tab9 was already able to help us and make this whole process like way faster. So that's what I had for you today. I hope like me that you are very excited about the prospect of AI in general. It's aware, it's everywhere around us right now. In almost everything that we do in our life, it's like finding a way in, and we can be very scared of it for some parts, but we can be very excited about it. And this is one of those parts that I feel like as a developer who has been doing this for now, maybe 20 years, this is like, you know, one of those like wow moment, and that really makes me excited to come open up my IDE and start coding and start like strategizing about my code. So I hope you get to enjoy it. Kudos to the Tab 9 team for making it so cool and so easy to get started with it. Of course, there are many options out there, but at the end of the day, the one who cares about the developer and give us a great experience, that one will win at the end of the day. Take care, and I see you soon.